Counting on Jinger Duggar shades Jessa in latest podcast. The Duggar family has been at the center of controversy and attention for years, thanks to their reality TV show 19 Kids and Counting, which was later rebranded as Counting On. As the family's personal lives unfold on camera, fans are always on the lookout for subtle hints, behind-the-scenes moments, and the occasional public spat between siblings. Recently, Jinger Duggar, one of the most outspoken members of the family, made waves in a podcast appearance that many fans believe contains some veiled shade directed at her sister Jessa Duggar. So, did Jinger Duggar really take a swipe at her sister? Or is this just another case of fans reading too much into a casual conversation? Let's break it down and analyze everything that's been said, along with the history that may have contributed to this apparent tension. The background: Jinger versus Jessa. Before we dive into the podcast itself, let's quickly review the relationship between Jinger and Jessa Duggar. Both sisters were heavily involved in the Counting On series, and while they've always been relatively close, their personalities and life choices have set them on somewhat different paths. Jessa, the second oldest Duggar daughter, married Ben Seawald, and they've started a family of their own with several children. Jinger, on the other hand, married Jeremy Vuolo, a former professional soccer player, and the couple has lived in Los Angeles, California, after initially living in Laredo, Texas. These geographical and lifestyle differences have made the two sisters' lives seem like night and day. While Jessa embraces the more traditional, homesteading life, Jinger has embraced a slightly more liberal, independent approach, perhaps exemplified most noticeably in her choice to wear pants and pursue a more secular lifestyle compared to the ultra-conservative views of her parents. Jinger's move to California, away from the family's Arkansas home, was seen as a sign that she was carving out her own identity, separate from the Duggar legacy. Throughout Counting On, viewers saw the contrasting personalities of the two sisters. Jinger's more measured, introspective demeanor stood in contrast to Jessa's louder, more outspoken personality. While there was no overt hostility between the two, there were subtle moments where their differences were apparent, most notably the way they handled their pregnancies and parenting styles. The podcast moment. What was said? In her recent podcast, Jinger appeared alongside her husband Jeremy Vuolo to discuss their lives, family dynamics, and their faith. As is often the case with podcasts, the conversation flowed naturally with moments of deep reflection and lighthearted banter. But one particular moment caught the attention of fans. During the episode, Jinger was speaking about the importance of supporting her husband, Jeremy, and how their partnership has helped her grow in her faith and independence. She casually mentioned that in her earlier years, she may have been too focused on trying to please others, especially her family, and that it wasn't until she found her own voice through her marriage to Jeremy that she truly understood what it meant to be independent. That's when some fans began to see the potential for a subtle jab. Some interpreted Jinger's comment about pleasing others as a veiled reference to her relationship with her parents and siblings, particularly Jessa. Over the years, Jessa has been seen as the good Duggar daughter, closely aligned with Jim Bob and Michelle's values. Her staunchly conservative views and traditional approach to family life have often been praised by the Duggars and their followers. In contrast, Jinger's more progressive stance has been viewed as a challenge to the family's long-standing beliefs. Although Jinger didn't directly name names, the implication was that her previous desire to please her family was stifling her growth and autonomy. Was this a shade-filled comment aimed at Jessa, who has always stayed more closely aligned with the family's values? Fans certainly thought so. But before jumping to conclusions, it's important to note that Jinger also expressed deep gratitude for her parents and the lessons they taught her. She spoke warmly about her upbringing, emphasizing that it was through her parents' guidance that she learned the value of faith and family. In the same breath, she acknowledged that there came a time when she needed to branch out on her own and make decisions for herself. The social media backlash. Fans weigh in. As expected, Jinger's comments didn't go unnoticed. Fans immediately took to social media to voice their opinions on the matter. Some fans were quick to interpret her words as a direct swipe at Jessa, while others defended Jinger, claiming that she was simply being honest about her journey toward independence. One Twitter user wrote, "I love how Jinger has grown so much and found her voice, but I can't help but wonder if she's throwing some shade at Jessa here. It feels like there's some underlying tension between the sisters." Another fan responded, "I think people are reading too much into it." Jinger has always been more independent, and it's not surprising she'd reflect on how her relationship with Jeremy has helped her find her own voice. Interestingly, Jessa herself has remained relatively silent on the matter. She hasn't responded directly to the podcast or any of the comments swirling around it. This lack of a public response has only fueled the rumors and speculation, as fans wonder if Jessa feels the same way or if she's simply chosen to take the high road. Is there tension between the sisters? So, is there genuine tension between Jinger and Jessa? Or is this just a case of fans looking for drama where there is none? It's worth noting that sibling rivalry is nothing new, even in large families like the Duggars. The Duggar sisters have each had their own personal journeys, and as adults, they've inevitably carved out different paths for themselves. Jinger's desire for independence and her decision to step away from her family's more rigid belief system could understandably cause some friction, particularly with a sibling like Jessa, who has continued to align herself with their parents' teachings. However, it's also entirely possible that Jinger's comments were not directed at Jessa at all. In fact, they may have been more about her own personal growth and the evolution of her relationship with Jeremy. She has frequently expressed gratitude for her marriage and how it has helped her become a more confident, independent woman. It's likely that her comments were simply a reflection of that journey, rather than an attack on anyone else. As for Jessa, her silence on the matter speaks volumes. She has been known to keep things close to the vest when it comes to family drama. Her more traditional, private demeanor may explain why she hasn't made any public statements in response. It's possible she's perfectly content with the way things are, and any friction between her and Jinger is something that will remain behind closed doors. Conclusion. Looking forward. Ultimately, whether or not Jinger shaded Jessa in her podcast appearance is open to interpretation. Fans may continue to speculate, but it's important to remember that the Duggar family is incredibly private, and much of what happens behind the scenes is known only to them. What's clear is that Jinger's journey has been one of personal growth and self-discovery. She has always been the more introspective and independent of the Duggar daughters, and her podcast comments reflect that. Whether or not there's tension between her and Jessa, their paths are clearly diverging, and their relationship, like all sibling dynamics, will continue to evolve over time. In the end, it's likely that the Duggar sisters will continue to support one another, even if their beliefs and lifestyles differ. After all, family is what matters most in the Duggar household, and despite the occasional disagreement, they've always found a way to come together when it counts. Let me know if you'd like any adjustments or additions.